Hello, I am Jon Najarian. It is my great pleasure on Crypto Conversations to bring in Philippe Bekhazi. Philip is the CEO of Stablehouse. Now, a lot of you may know Stablehouse if you're really into cryptos, and if you're not, you're about to learn about it. Philip, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, John.
Great to have
Great
you here.
to be here.
First of all, Stablehouse is based in Bermuda.
Yes.
So I'm jealous, even though I live in Puerto Rico. Still jealous. Just met the Prime Minister, who's a good friend of Philip's. And tell us about Stablehouse, how you got started in it, and what it does right now, please.
Sure. Stablehouse is a regulated Bermuda company that started about a couple years ago. We wanted to serve the world from a regulated place that was credible and with very clear laws. And we found that Bermuda, from its location being so close to New York and Miami, and it was very easy to get to, and they were very approachable. We thought it was the best place to build substance there and work from there. It's been a great experience. So Stablehouse is a yield platform. We offer yield on many different currencies, both fiat currencies, either through a stable coin, right now through stable coins, or crypto native tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a bunch of others. We offer trading services and payment services as well. Again, all through a regulated entity.
Right. And I think, folks, that's one of the keys is that when we were having discussions on stage and backstage about regulation, when people hear DeFi, a lot of them just scream, yeah. And then a lot of the institutions are like, they're a little scared of it. Even some customers are a little put off by the idea that something that's true DeFi may not have some of the protections that people look for. And obviously, Bermuda is known for being very rigorous with their regulation. As I said, just met the Prime Minister of Bermuda here at the San Moritz Crypto Conference, CFC, and him being involved had to help you guys immensely, Philippe.
He has been a huge help from the beginning. He has been so invested in reinventing Bermuda in a way because, the legacy, economically, it's been built on insurance and banking. And, after 2008, things were a little bit
tenuous,
right, for a lot of different places. And he was very much at the forefront of trying to think about, how do I reinvent Bermuda? And he's done an amazing job. His background is computer science, so he had an affinity directly to crypto technology and cryptocurrencies and things like that. So we met early on, and we had a discussion around what would make Bermuda different, and how can we build laws and regulations that make sense, right? Because it's all about, you can make all kinds of rules and regulations, but if you don't work with business, you don't work with industry, then you're going to have crickets, because it's the business that drives regulation. It should be like that. The regulator should be technology agnostic, business agnostic, but try to understand the risks to the jurisdiction. How can it affect the jurisdiction, and globally, everyone wants to be a good actor, right? So, and they've done a great job fine dialing, the levers of regulation, and now we have two regulated companies. So Stable, I am also founder of XBTO Group. We're also regulated in Bermuda, but companies like Circle, Bittrex, even BitNex has an entity there, and many others that I won't name because they're still in the pipeline, but they're coming. They're all coming, and it's great to see.
Well, Mr. Bekhazi down in Salvador has been making lots of headlines in crypto because he's been buying crypto through the treasury, giving it out to citizens that get one of their wallets and things like that. But that's different than what's going on in Bermuda.
Very different.
Because, he's trying to explore things like geothermal with the volcanic activity in El Salvador and so forth. But you guys are bringing the actual companies, not just perhaps some miners and giving away coins. You guys are creating a fertile environment for companies to come there, whether it's XBTO
Yep.
or Stablehouse.
Yep. It's a different approach. It's different needs also. Bermuda is very close to the U.S. It's very integrated into its institutions in a certain way. It's very dollarized island. And, it is a very respected jurisdiction, and it wants to keep it that way because it is one of the top 3 reinsurance capitals of the world. So they have a different approach, a different need, and for them, they want to attract sort of credible companies to run businesses in the digital asset space, but in a way that is that's forward-looking, but at the same time not too disruptive to the jurisdiction, because they don't want to obviously offset what they've built in terms of their insurance and banking industry. It's super interesting what's going on in El Salvador. Completely different story, completely different needs. Whereas in Bermuda, USDC is approved tender. In El Salvador, it's Bitcoin. I think it will come to Bermuda where Bitcoin will be also the same, but it's different needs and different requirements and different timelines.
Yeah, and obviously offshore hedge funds have been in Bermuda forever. Captive insurance, you've already mentioned,
Yes.
various types of international banking, and it's really been Bermuda and Cayman Islands in the jurisdiction closest to the United States. Granted, there are a bunch of other locales around the world, but you guys are at the forefront of those 2 areas. I mean, Bermuda and Cayman, and I haven't heard as much from Cayman as I have from you, XBTO and Stablehouse in Bermuda. Why do you think that is? It's just because the computer science background of the Prime Minister, and or is it that this creates some great jobs just outside of the other jobs that are great jobs in banking and in captive insurance?
I think it's a combination of things. For sure, the Premier has been a leading force into getting sort of digital assets regulated in Bermuda. And so it's important to have a leader that is really interested and understands the space to move things forward. Other jurisdictions, like the Caymans, have taken a more of a slow approach to it. They've been, basically observing and have been slow at setting clear regulation. That can help them in a certain way, I think. For us, we wanted clear regulation, so we could have gone to the Cayman. But from New York, it's a little further away. It's a different. It's great for funds. Cayman sort of is a capital for fund management and offshoring of funds. And so it remains, it remains a leader there. But Bermuda is just as good, to be honest, and it's so much closer to the East Coast. And we like the fact that the regulator is credible and easy to work with, and we think that's foundation that is super important. And it's been proven. They're really hitting a J curve in terms of the companies that are coming now. It's because of that framework. It's because we're starting to build an ecosystem over there. There are developers coming and operations and compliance and that's really important when you're building. You want to build a jurisdiction around digital assets. Is like you can't build companies if you can't hire people. Or it's just a shell a bit, right? So that's in Bermuda. You can live there, you can enjoy a really high quality of life and build business, and that's really important.
Now, Stablehouse, do you have any intentions of taking it public in U.S. markets, international markets? What is your, if you were to set down a 12-month or a 24-month timeline, Philippe,
Yeah.
what would you say? Where will it be in 12 or 24 months?
We love the U.S. market. U.S. market is a highly regulated, highly fractured market. It's as we've seen in recent times, yield platforms have encountered some legal issues. So there's some gray zones, right? And so what we're doing is we're focusing on Europe, Middle East, and basically Africa, and also Oceania, like Australia and New Zealand, and obviously we're open to Asia to a certain degree. We'll go wherever we are able to from a regulatory standpoint. The U.S. remains something that is obviously one of the biggest markets in the world. It's, we will get there. We want to do things right. We want to build on sound foundations. And we don't want to be in a project of fighting regulators. That's not really something we want to do. We want to work with them, and if they're not ready for it, then we'll wait. And we're patient. So Stablehouse is launched about 2 months ago. It's growing very fast. We have multi-currency. I think we have over 25 currencies right now that are listed where you can earn yield on, and I think within 12 months, I think we will be in the U.S. within 12 months.
Do you think you'll uplist to an exchange? Do you think you'll do a
So right
public
now,
offering, or
we
will this
are-
all be through tokens, do you think?
Right
And
now, we are
staking.
VC backed, which is different than the parent XBTO. It has investors like Liberty City Ventures, Dragonfly, Coinbase Ventures, and also a number of influencers in the space that are quite well known that have put some money and some they've been advising us on what.
And maybe even influencers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means a lot these
It's
days.
very, very important, as we've seen on Twitter. I mean, you can really bank your whole business on influencers. It's incredible. So tokens are exactly also that. People love tokens. It creates community, it creates marketing, and it's a really powerful force. And it's something that we are looking at in the future. We just want to make sure that whatever token we do as a regulated company doesn't.
It's compliant.
Yeah, it's compliant. So it needs to be it needs to be thought through correctly.
Now, quick question. So when people put their Bitcoin or USDC, whatever, on Stablehouse, they're earning yield
Yes.
for those coins. How do you feel about staking? Because this is the hot topic, one of the hot topics, I think, right now, are companies that do have their tokens out there already and they're staking those tokens. Tell me your opinion on staking. Not necessarily what Stablehouse might do, but what's your opinion?
Well, I think it's really interesting what's going on in space in terms of staking. I don't really have a particular angle on whether it's something that is going to be long-lasting. These DAOs need to create a way to some stickiness for the investors and create a way to generate yield over a long time. They want to basically create activity and they want people to get involved over the long term, right? So I think staking is a really interesting way of doing that. But every token is different. Staking can take different forms. Sometimes it's to secure the network. Sometimes it's just for marketing reasons, right? You're just earning yield, and there's a certain inflation of that token, and if the more the more you stake, the more you earn. It's a brave new world, right?
Right.
We're really just in the early beginnings of all this, and it'll be interesting to see where we are in 10 years.
It'll be interesting to see where you are in 2 years. So, folks, it's been my great pleasure to speak with Philippe Bekhazi, CEO of Stablehouse and part of the XBTO group as well. Thank you, Philippe.
Thanks, John.